Drafting of pattern on fabric for Jhabla. Now that we have constructed the pattern for a Jhabla, drafting the pattern on fabric will be an easy task. At the end of the session, you will be able to draft the pattern of Jhabla on fabric. Let's first familiarize with the tools and materials required for drafting the pattern on fabric. They are measuring tape, tailor's chalk, pattern square, 47 inches or 120 centimeters of cotton fabric. We will change the view of the pattern that we constructed for the convenience of drafting on fabric. Let's first examine the fabric and see if we need to consider certain aspects before we can start folding the fabric for drafting. As you can see here, this fabric has a design that gives a direction like flowers growing upward. However, here, the fabric has a design which does not give a direction. If it is a plain fabric or a fabric with design which does not give a direction, we can go ahead and fold it. From the selvage edge, measure and mark 10.5 inches and fold the fabric lengthwise. Ensure that the selvage edge is parallel to the fold. As you can see here, the printed portion begins from this point. So, we will first cut out the excess unprinted portion of the fabric. Before we continue, let us check if the double folded cut edge is in a right angle, and if not, we will correct it with the help of a pattern square. Now, from the cut edge of the fabric, measure and mark 22 inches. Fold the fabric widthwise. Here, we have the fold to the left and the cut edge to the right. Also, ensure that the inner layer is held tight in the folds. We will now start drafting the pattern on fabric for the Jhabla based on the pattern we had constructed. Here, this length 0.1 has a fold. Ensure that it has a length of 10.5 inches. This length is 0.2 and also has a fold. Also ensure that it has a length of 22 inches. From point 2, measure and mark 1 inch. This point is point 3. From this point, draw a line in a right angle to the fold. The point where this line meets the end of the one fabric layer is point 7. Next, we will mark point 4, which is quarter of the chest circumference, which comes to 5.25 inches. From point 4, draw a line at a right angle to the fold such that it is parallel to line 0, 1. The point where this line meets the end of the one fabric layer is point 5. Here, the length 1, 6 is equal to length 0, 2. Similarly, length 1, 5 is equal to length 0, 4. Now from point 1, measure and mark 3.5 inches, which is 1/6 of the chest circumference. This point is point 9. From point 0, measure along the fold and mark 1 3/4 inches, which is 1/12 of the chest circumference. This point is point 8. We will now join points 8 and 9. For this, draw a short line about 1.5 inches at a right angle from the center fold and shape towards point 9, ending in a right angle. Only if we start and end in a right angle will the neck opening be smooth and without corners. Now from point 5, measure and mark 3 inches, which is approximately 1/8 of the chest circumference. This point is point 10. From point 7, measure and mark 3/4 inches. Mark this point as point 11. We will now shape line 2, 6 to mark 3/4 inches towards point 7. Similarly, we will shape line 3, 7 towards point 11. Next, we will join points 10 and 11 with a straight line. We will now join points 5 and 11 with a curve. For this, begin from point 5 with a right angle and join the straight line 10, 11 about midway. Check if the curves are drawn in a smooth flow, joining the straight line. We have finished drafting the pattern of the Jhabla on fabric. In this session, we have drafted the pattern for a Jhabla on fabric. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key steps involved in drafting the pattern on fabric for a Jhabla. They are: Step 1. From the selvage edge, measure and mark 10.5 inches and fold the fabric lengthwise. Step 2. Now from the cut edge of the fabric, measure and mark 22 inches and fold the fabric widthwise. Step 3. Draft points 3 and 7 and join them. Step 4. Draft points 8 and 9 and join them. Step 5. Shape lines 2, 6 and 3, 7, 3/4 inches upwards. Step 6. Join points 5 and 11 with a curve. With that, we've come to the end of this session.